Welcome back. Going into the second half here of Ye Olde Drop Frames. The God of War part, where we talk about how we're going to talk about God of War. Okay, so me, Ko, and JERICHO have been playing. I think Ko is the furthest along. How many hours do you have in the game, roughly speaking, Ko?
I don't know. Probably
On your save file is different because I don't think it
15-ish?
saves deaths. I don't think it factors in that time.
That's true. And I have died a lot.
I have 25 hours saved.
Okay.
What is that? Wait, what do you mean by that? What do you mean it doesn't factor in your deaths?
It doesn't.
So
I don't think it.
if you die, if you spend like an hour on a boss, it doesn't count that hour.
What the fuck does that? What's the point of that?
I don't know.
Because it expects you to be good.
That doesn't make any sense. My Elden Ring gameplay is like 3 minutes then. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, why? I need to know how much time I've spent physically in there, not like how much progress, how long it took me to progress.
Am I wrong about that?
That's saying 36-ish is how many hours I'm in it, apparently.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But
wow.
to be,
I'm
fair.
Christ.
Yeah, he's put in a lot. He also got a Tuesday. So
I have anytime, like there's many parts in the game, just like in the original God of War, where you'll get up to like a gateway, and it's like, go into the gateway for the main story. Or there's an NPC right here that if you talk to him, he will tell you that, hey, now you can go around this entire area that you just went through, and there's a bunch of side quests to do. Every time I've seen that, I have done every single side quest I can do.
Same.
I'm like, and there is tons of side stuff.
Dude,
some of it is actually fantastic.
I spent 10 hours yesterday doing that.
Yeah.
Only side stuff. Finished the main part up. Well, here's 10 hours of side stuff. And it was all good. Like, I enjoyed every aspect of it, of that.
There is a very cool journalist by the name of Gene Park.
Yes.
And before any of this came out, he tweeted that for the first time since Witcher 3, he feels like side quests are, in some cases, rival the main story. And I definitely looked at that with a bit of a skeptical eye.
Sure.
Because I mean, hell, he liked Zelda Breath of the Wild. How much credit can you give him? And basically, but sure enough, he nailed it. He absolutely like there are some side quests that I have completed that are very meaningful, that have like serious implications, that show entire sides of the characters that you know are not really, don't really have a spotlight shine on them a lot of times. Like they're really, really good. In some cases, like it's not just the kind of thing where you like turn in X and get Y item and it's done. It's like you turn in X, a giant event that changes that part of the world happens, and then you get like a really cool iconic item, and it's just like,
yeah,
holy shit! Like it's very cool. It's very cool.
I've only experienced like I think one major side quest line thus far, and even that, if the rest of the game matches that in terms of everything involved in it, I'm very excited to do all of that, do all the side quest stuff. Zeke,
are y'all on the hardest difficulty?
I think we all are.
No.
Oh, JERICHO's not.
One step below.
Okay.
I like to try and enjoy myself.
Which is still damn hard, for the record.
Yeah,
I've talked to people who, yes. So for the record,
I watched you guys play it, and I was like, yeah, that looks pretty hard. I think I'll go one step below. And I'm like, this looks pretty similar to me. I'm not really sure what the change. Like maybe I think you get a health buff. I think you probably. I would actually like to know if they have like can lay out for me what the difference is in like damage you receive or whatever. But like,
yeah,
it's still hard.
But I mean, from what I understand, like if you're taking 50 damage on the hardest difficulty, you're taking like 40 damage on the second hardest difficulty, which is like the difference between 3 hits and 2 hits. Dying.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
but it matters.
It's still really, really tough.
I got my HP increase. It's like, great. Now instead of 2 hits, I'll die in 2 hits still. This is pointless. Why do Why do I have more HP?
Honestly, on hardest difficulty, and just a little bit of a criticism here, the game suffers from the same thing the first one did, where it's like stats. Well, you want defense? Doesn't matter because you're still going to get killed in the hit. You want attack? Doesn't matter. The enemies are still going to be HP pools. Like, it does kind of suck in that regard, where like the only thing you really start looking at is like the sub effects. Like this gives you a bonus if you do this, or like there's even one where it's like you get to dodge better if you use this, and it's just like, like some of them are really meaningful, but the actual stats themselves, you have to completely stack a stat, like 100% focused one aspect of your character to make it be, somewhat meaningful.
Yeah, I don't think I'm far enough to know if like the stat issue. I only have, I want to say I'm like around 180 strength and like 190 defense or something like that. So I don't know in the grand scheme of things what that means. But I do think it is a more finely tuned difficulty. Whereas in the first one, it was like everyone is an HP sponge. Everyone takes no damage. In this one, it feels like things actually do take damage, and they kind of worked on that a little bit better. As well as when you go into like rage mode, you're not just punching a brick wall. Like when you go into rage mode now, at least most of the stuff I've fought, it tends to die. Apart from like bosses. Bosses, it doesn't matter. Who fucking cares about your rage mode? But like the normal mobs, I can actually, most of the time, take down a target while using rage mode. I can't like complete the entire encounter. So
I'll answer that with a
yeah. Does that change later on in the game?
I mean, it really depends on the mob.
Sure,
but
yeah.
there are definitely times later when you can like Hulk out with a 2-bar full rage thing and do like maybe a third of an enemy's health.
Okay. I don't think I've experienced that.
It depends on the mob a lot of times.
Yeah.
To be fair, I didn't know you. Oh, little tip. This isn't really a spoiler. To be fair, I didn't know you could upgrade your rage mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't know that. So until like hour 30, I was on my level 1 rage the whole time. That was
yeah.
That was a bit of a thing.
My man was like, I'll do it normally. No steroids, no nothing.
So-
I hate this.
I'm gonna hard mode my hard mode. Let's do it.
Here's one thing, and I don't know if this was true in the first one. I honestly can't recall because it was 1 pre-COVID and 2 like 4 or 5 years ago when I fully played it. Are there more tools in this game than you've ever had before? And also, do you guys use them? Because I don't. I just kind of press
When you
square,
say tools, what do you mean?
like the combos and like the amount of things you can do is almost like a fighting game, like brain breaking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I don't
If
use
you
any of
watch-
those.
If you watch the people that are really, really good at God of War, they are constantly switching their weapons. And I don't mean just like switching their weapons to use their little 2 cooldown abilities.
Yeah.
I mean like they're throwing their axe at a target to freeze them with the heavy attack. They're switching back to their blades, doing their whole thing with that, back to the axe so they can use this move at this time to charge up to do this, re-CCing that guy with the axe, going back to their blades. I mean, you nailed it when you said it's like a fighting game. Now like with the axe, you can charge it up, you can do different moves while you're dodging, you can do different types of throws, hold, all those have hold versions.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot. Absolutely.
I think that when I don't want to derail this and we can just go back into this, but like when we talk about the difference between Elden Ring and God of War, specifically the coolest thing that God of War has done for me, and I agree with you, there is not too much. For me, there is too much where I kind of like look at all of the sheets and stuff and I'm like, God, I really hope I don't accidentally spec this out awful and it makes the game not possible like I did the last game where I did a cooldown build. Don't do that. I hoped that we wouldn't have to deal with the same scenario, but like the combos and the fluidity of the fighting and your ability to do these like fighting game-esque stun locks where like I got one where I was literally juggling the enemy for like 30 seconds where it wouldn't hit the ground, using moves and things. I'm trying to figure out what we can talk about, but like just using the stuff in the game, right? And I was like, this feels good. Like it feels really special to be able to do that in God of War.
I mean, I will go as far as to say it is, for me, if you compare it to like a Devil May Cry or anything kind of in the same realm, this is like the best combat I've played. Like it's not even from just a feeling aspect, from a look aspect. Like some of the stuff, it's like they applied everything they did in the first game to throwing the axe to literally everything else in the game when it comes to combat. It feels phenomenal. And like they sat there and just worked on it for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. Just like
real quick.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I'm seeing it in my head, but this guy that just said it, I hope that he did it crossing his arms and shake his head at the same time. No, Elden Ring's better.
Objectively,
that's going to be the conversation, 100%.
Objectively, it's not. That's like one of the few things that I think God of War did do better than Elden Ring is the combat. Like I'm. By the way, I got my PlayStation 5 just the day that I played God of War. I have not had one this entire time. Blown away by the controller and the haptics that you do. Like, it's incredible.
Battery life
but
sucks, but everything else is king.
Yeah, but like, man, the combat really does make you feel almost like you can do no wrong when you're hitting and stringing like multi-weapon combos and your cooldowns are going well. It's like it gives me that like, oh, I'm doing it well. I'm doing the thing.
Yeah, you feel
dopamine.
like the God of War when you do well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder, since I haven't played a single second of it, the way you're describing it, I recently went back for Excessive Profanity, his 100-month sub appreciation game. Yeah. He picked Bayonetta. And I went back to Bayonetta and I was like, yeah, the very first Bayonetta. And I went back to it and I said, okay, I played through, Bayonetta 1 and 2. So now I just want to ask you guys, is there like a set of moves that I can easily do every time that is a powerful like combo that is like could be your bread and butter? And I'm wondering, is that the same in like, because they were like, yes, it's this, and then that'll be your home base. Yeah, go back to that and you'll win. Like, you'll be all right.
Totally.
Is there something like that in God of War?
You, depending on difficulty, and I would say even on the hardest difficulty, I primarily just press one button, which is a lot of square.
Light attack.
Okay. Yeah, light attack. Yeah, well, I have my control switch, so it's square and triangle instead of R1, R2. And like light attack is good, but Zeke, the thing is you press that and then you like throw in a heavy in there and you're like, oh, that looked cool. I'm gonna press heavy some more. And then you see like, oh, that if I hold that down, he like does a spin around move and like grabs that guy and I could throw things off of a bridge, then it'll just die immediately. I'm gonna start doing that. So but if I swap to that, I can do the scorpion move and pull but now I can light him on fire if I press the other button. Like, you just start seeing all this other options that you have, and you're like, fuck, that's so cool. I got to do that.
And here's the thing, and this is important. There, just like JP said, there is, your light attack. You can just spam light attack if you want to, and especially if you're not on the hardest difficulty, you will get through with that.
Yeah.
But going back to what JP said about the tools, it starts getting to the point where there are quick ways to either instantly incapacitate or kill enemies, or there are tools you can use to make fights. So instead of having to hit L1 for 30 seconds, you could do this specific thing with this tool and kill them in 10 seconds. So it's the kind of thing where that even though there is that kind of one fallback combo that'll move you through the whole game, if you do end up using the tools, you're talking about making the fights much, much easier than if you were to just use that one-hit wonder combo.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. It's very cool. And especially as you start getting to the point where I'm at the game, you get like some tools you didn't expect to get, and that opens even more doors, and it's cool.
Yeah.
I hate being the like I'm the one of those guys that falls into the trap of like, I will keep using the move that looks the coolest to me, and it's probably not even close to the best damage, and just like fucking beat my head because it's like, dude, why he's grabbing his face, pushing his thumbs through his eyes, and then using his head as a bowling ball. Why is that not doing more damage? It looks so awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think they do a good job contextualizing like the animations for what you're doing, and there's not a lot of like. I think when you look at it, like some games are he does a giant haymaker and slams his body into the ground, and the player goes, oof, right? But like everything that you're doing has an accurate, or it feels like an accurate reaction. So if you do light, heavy with your axe, you do this like overhead spike, which hits like a normal like weak enemy into the ground and bounces him up. So if he's bounced up in the air and you do another heavy, you come from above and you knock him up higher. And now he's in the air again. And from below, sorry. And then you can then switch it up, like use your grab with your so like the combo crafting, they do a good job of making it feel like, oh, I did the heavier and more damaging thing that looked cooler. That does do more. And it's also when you're like when you get them stunned, you can tell if it's going to be a kill stun, if it's yellow or a red.
Yeah.
And like the animations are similar. Like you'll do like an over the head roll throw, and then you can use that to kill, like JP said, throwing them off a bridge. There's like it's a lot less like we gave them more health. It's like situational awareness will save you a lot of time fighting. a lot of the enemies on the higher difficulties.
Yeah. There are also just mobs that say fuck you. Right?
Yeah, and they
There's
suck.
mobs that
But-
everything JERICHO just said,
Yeah.
they're like, no, you're not. You're just you gotta get good. And I think I speak to that, and Zeke, this might resonate with you, is I got really angry in the first game and I was getting mad at the game. When I get mad at this game, I'm mad at myself for playing bad. Right? And there's a big difference between those two types of anger with video games. Because I'm never blaming the game. And this one, I'm just like, God, I don't know why I did X move. I should have done that, or I should have done fuck. And then you just go back into the next one, and it feels great because you get better, right? You force yourself to get better, at least on the hardest difficulty.
That was my biggest, like, the reason why I didn't complete the last game on the hardest difficulty, because it didn't make the game's challenge more fun. It just made it longer.
Sure.
And that's why, like, to me, that's why I took it back to the second hardest difficulty, because it felt like the enemies were as smart as they were in the hardest, AI, whatever. But it didn't feel like I had to do the same thing more times just to beat them,
Right.
This is why I do choose the second highest thing. Usually, like with Doom, maybe that's the third highest, like not Nightmare, but the one below it. Like there's a certain level of enjoyment progressing through the game that I feel like I am not missing out on the ingenuity of some of these bosses, or not bosses, but even the ads and the frustration of these little weevil things that are just like, or frogs. Like, I hate you.
Those are the hardest mobs in the game.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like, I know I'm not missing out on this because I'm still getting pissed off. So, like, as long I'm like, everybody's different, but for me, I think it goes a long way with a game this complex, and especially if you're the type of person who will replay it, given how much you can do to spec your abilities in one way or the other, or build your character. I would just say play through it on the second highest difficulty, and then don't get pissed off that you're doing the same boss, or not even the same boss, the same area 16 times in a row. Do it twice or 3 times and be like, that felt good.
From a difficulty point of view, and Co, I'm curious for you, since you're playing on the hardest difficulty as well. The harder fights for me are when there's more mobs. If it's a one-on-one situation, I can like generally do it on the first or second try. It's when you throw in like 5 or 6 mobs at once and they're all doing a lot of damage. And there's, like JERICHO just said, there's little tiny things that will literally one-shot you out of nowhere. But you can one-shot those things if you're aware.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had 15 plus death encounter today with a normal set of enemies.
Yeah.
Just because there were so many of them that, like, I would start hitting one and then one would hit me from behind, and then the second I get hit from behind, a projectile would come in from the left and I'm dead.
Yeah.
And stuff like the hardest fights for me in this game have not been boss fights.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
So yeah.
Well,
no question.
There was I had a side quest boss where you're fighting 2 at once. I guess is how I would
Then you're
say
fighting
that.
2.
Yeah, I guess
Doesn't
that's
count
true.
anymore.
It's not really a boss fight, but yeah, that's true.
And I hated those guys in Elden Ring too. Those 2 like forsaken.
Yeah, well, there's
guys.
a lot. Yeah.
God.
But I felt like at least in Elden Ring, you could like, the AI is so aggro in this game that if you take a step back, the enemies don't wait. They walk forward at you at great speed. They're not waiting for you to react. You're reacting to them most of the time. But Co, in the examples where there are a lot of mobs, you're like, well, I got to get good. I got to deal with that guy over there first. I got to make sure that I one-shot this thing with an ability that I know will one-shot it. And then when those fights feel the best to me when you win, because the narrative of one dude walking into that arena with X amount of guys and you just demolish and rip and tear all of them apart is
Rip and tear
awesome.
until it's done.
It feels great. Right. It's so good.
A couple of people brought this up, and I want to ask you guys, since I haven't played it yet.
Yeah.
How big of a boss is the camera boss?
A little bit. It can be rough in some parts when you're up against a wall.
The camera boss and sometimes the targeting boss.
Targeting is huge. You're right.
Yeah, I've been having some issues with the targeting every so often, where like sometimes it, like when you have an enemy targeted, sometimes left and right won't switch targets left and right. You have to do it like at little angles. So if you're in the middle of combat, you know, there's two guys kind of right next to each other. This dude is doing a move that you have to interrupt by throwing your axe, and you're sitting there trying to move over to throw the axe, but the target keeps going back to the left guy. You're like, what? I already have a hard enough time. Stop it.
Yeah, it's like there's a guy with a magnet on the other side of the arena, and he's just sitting there like.
And the game thinks it's helping. The game thinks it's helping you, but at the same time, it's like it's just ruining everything. So you know, it doesn't happen all the time. You don't have to use lock on. So you know,
I might turn it off. I'm getting close to it.
There are ways to get around it, but at the same vein, it can be a lot.
I find myself like gripping the controller so often that I'll just do things because of how tightly I'm holding the controller from stress, where it's like, I didn't mean to lock onto that guy, or I didn't mean to like press L1 to R1 and that started some weird thing happening in the fight.
Turn off the fucking sticks? Oh, please tell me you can turn off the sticks.
I think so. The game has a ton of accessibility that you might be able to, but I'm not 100%.
I cannot stand that games that have locked moves on the push of the sticks, because I fucking do that so much.
There's a lot of
bad.
I do that same thing, and I haven't looked to try to turn it off, but I bet you it's probably possible.
Well, left click is sprint.
Left stick in is sprint. Yeah, so that's needed, and that also, funny enough, in fights, if you're sprinting and you press an action button, it does something different than if you're just standing. Like it does a
gap closer.
Yeah, it does like a gap closer type deal.
Sick.
Which is great sometimes.
Sometimes. Yeah, that's exactly right.
So, no. You jump into the boss head first.
Exactly.
I saw a tweet.
Yeah.
I saw a tweet from Strippin that really.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Like,
I know where you're going.
Brought up my anger. And the anger comes from the game telling you clues to a puzzle before you get to a puzzle.
So Zeke.
And I hate that idea.
You can turn it off.
I don't think you can.
Because
I saw that
particular point has been going back and forth in chat the whole time.
I don't think
have you actually turned it off,
Jericho? I've tried to turn it off, and I don't think it works.
need it. I love it. I'm literally the person, like, because I'll be talking to chat and I and miss what they say, and I'm like, crap, and then I'm like wandering around, a trace is just like, we should probably go up there, huh, Dad?
Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, that's what I gotta do. My bad.
Yeah.
Like, but I get that if you're actually just playing it and you don't like that.
There's a lot of it.
It gets bad. It gets bad. So like there's a couple clips going around. Like Ella has a great clip going around where there's like this one part where it's like, okay, there's two platforms. You have to hit an item over. No, this is not a spot. This is don't worry. This is no spoiler. There's two platforms. You have to hit an item to swing it over, and then you have to jump over and shoot something, and then you have to go forward. So literally, you're with a character, and she goes, "Hey, maybe there's something we could hit to swing over there." And then the second you do that, and you get on the other side, she goes, "I wonder if we can hit something to keep moving forward." And then the second you hit that thing, she's like, "Hey, you know what? We should keep going forward." And it's just like, mother, I'm playing the game.
I go back and forth with it, like, and someone brings up
go. Give me one of these. You got so angry. Angry. You got a
Did I get war spittle?
Yeah, I think you did. Yeah, I think you did. Someone in chat brought up an interesting point, and I think that the statement is, I feel like this is a streamer issue. I haven't seen a single regular person complain about this. I definitely see regular, quote unquote, regular people complain about this. But I feel like for streamers, this is what most streamers have combated for years while streaming, is don't backseat us. And then the game itself backseats you in like record time. And they know, unlike a lot of people that try to backseat, exactly how to backseat and say the exact
I've seen many non-streamers complain about it.
Yeah.
It does. The thing is the game does try to help you, and it's cool that it tries to help you. It just, there are specific periods when it is very excessive.
Yes.
Where it is like like during a boss fight.
I saw
you
that
should
one.
parry that. You should dodge that. Hit him harder. Lay into him. And it's just like,
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I was
I get it. The big yellow circle meant parry. You didn't need to yell at me to parry it.
I was
Like,
watching our
I won't be
buddy.
happy till it's like Kingdom Hearts level, and they're just like,
I was watching our buddy Man vs. Game do a boss, and character was like, "Brother, parry that." Next 5 seconds, you should parry that, brother. And man is just like, "Shut the fuck up! Stop fucking talking to me! I fucking hate you." And I think
one of the
that's kinda
best
real.
parts. One of the best parts is it's not a spoiler, but I'm gonna say it. Mimir is like, "You're on fire, brother, but you probably knew that." It's just like,
They keep it kind of funny.
I'm
Yeah.
literally on fire. I know.
Yeah.
Thanks. And the
No,
best
he
part
says
is,
you're on fire.
once you
It'll
have, like,
pass. Yeah.
yeah, it'll pass. That's right.
Yeah.
And it's like, and the best part is there's nothing you can do about that. He's just like, "You're on fire.
You're on fire, man.
By the way."
Yeah.
And there's one encounter that was really difficult for me later in the game because the enemy would always set you on fire. So every time I die, Mimir
Oh.
would tell me I was on fire, and it'll probably pass as I'm fading into the blackness. It'll probably pass as
Yeah.
I'm dying just over and
yeah,
over.
the
and
amount
over
of like,
and over.
hey, get up, and like, it's funny that they probably got a little bit too excited with the love that the dialogue the game has is incredible, but they also may have been like, we need more haha funny one-liners, boys. Like, we need to get in there and make as many as possible, or else we can't get the clips going. And it's just like, it gets tiring when you're dying and they have a one-liner every time.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Let me die.
For sure.
A one-liner is funny because it's a one-liner,
That's exactly right.
not a 55-liner.
Yeah.
And it just gets a little grating.
Yeah. So Zeke, I think you might honestly get upset about it. Especially if you're going to go in
actually-
on hardest difficulty, you're probably going to hear a lot of the same stuff a lot.
I actually Google searched it, and like all the suggestions are like, no, you can't turn them off, but you can turn off their dialogue.
The dialogue,
mute
yeah.
it and turn off subtitles.
Which
And you're like,
sucks.
no, I
Yeah.
like
That's
the
different.
banter.
Yeah.
Don't
That's totally
fucking
different.
tell.
And-
Don't like.
And to be honest,
It's a
that's
puzzle. Don't fucking fill in the crossword and hand it back to me and say you're welcome. Okay.
yeah. That, to be honest, that's where the game shines is the, just like in the first one where you're on a boat and you constantly hear the stories from Mimir. This is just nonstop like backstory content. Here's a ton of just lore about the world.
These people
just
love
nonstop.
not shutting the fuck up. You
Yeah,
know, like
yeah.
I
enjoy it,
You
though.
guys are.
But
Do, I at some point I'm like, when am I supposed to? This is such a stupid argument for a streamer, but like, when am I supposed to talk playing this game? like, there's just always There's dialogue when we're just walking somewhere. The only non-dialogue moment is when you're in a fight.
Yeah.
So like, otherwise, there's a lot of, and also I, as a small brain, smooth brain kid, I have like a tough time getting all of this information and like figuring out what's super important for me to remember and what is just like, they're just talking about the good old days, or like, do I need to know this? Is this backstory that's very important later on that I'm missing? Because this is the 9th time that they've had dialogue filling for like 5 minutes.
If anything, most of that story is just context that I found.
Right.
And it's relevant to the relationship that's happening on screen between the characters, right? Like it builds that. Because there are a lot of now I can't talk about with getting into story stuff. There's reasons for it, I guess, is for those conversations, how I look at it.
I want to say, be clear. Like, I love I don't know I love the characters and the writing is fantastic. And I like many actual laugh out loud moments with this stuff. So it's not even a question of, I don't want there to be as much talking. It's just like when you give me a book of info, don't like, I'm sorry if I have a couple questions on like, am I filtering this out correctly? Am I trying to remember too much? Is any of this important in the long run?
Yeah.
You know, there's just a lot more than I remember the first one having. Exposition is what I'll call it.
Yes, there's a lot for sure. But that's I feel like that's as far as we can go in that conversation without getting into like story aspects of it. So I'll take a hard swerve there. Graphics performance, I think it's fantastic. What are you guys running it on? Because there's a lot of different ways to quote unquote play the game for a PlayStation, for a console. I'm on like
All
not
performance, man.
yeah. I forget the
I'm on
actual
performance
settings.
1440p performance, 120 hertz. And so I think some chat told me that's 60 FPS base and then up to 120 during like some instances. So
Yeah.
that it feels great.
I
I mean,
haven't
I said it.
yeah.
Yep.
I haven't felt a drop yet, and it seems like a solid 60 at I think 1440 to 1800 is the scale. So
Yeah,
I'm playing on a 4K monitor and it's 4K. It's 4K.
same.
You know, it's been 60 the entire time, and I haven't seen a single texture, anything where I'm just like, wow, that looks bad. I did walk up onto a rock in a certain area, and it was like missing the shader or texture on it, and I just saw everything when I looked through it, and that was kind of strange. But apart from that, like it's been absolutely flawless.
It's so good looking. This is my
Yes.
first experience with a next gen console. 2 years later, you know, it's insane how good they've gotten console games to look. It looks incredible.
Yeah, and the art direction for this, I think, is the first one. You know, you can only see so much snow. There are some vistas and things in this where it's like the giraffe moment in Last of Us, where I just kind of like put down the controller or just look around and look at all the small things on the screen multiple times. And the game also knows that, and so it like forces you to get out of a situation a lot of times to like pull back the camera or the FOV. And so they've done it so many times that it's just incredible looking in multiple places throughout the game. And like I said, I don't feel like I'm very far at all with 25 hours logged. And I'm really curious to know like how big the game actually gets. I could message Ko to know that because I think he's further than me. And he'll probably tell me, you know, X amount of hours more, blah, blah, blah. But even Ko, he's 35 hours and hasn't finished yet. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm just excited
Loving
for
it.
like I'm a sucker for big things. Like I love like Shadow of the Colossus, like that kind of stuff. Like I'm tiny, big thing come.
Yeah.
Like I love that shit. Like there's the Jormungandr moment from the first game. Like when you're like, holy fuck,
Yes, it
this
does
thing
that
is the
nonstop.
world serpent. Holy shit. And then you get the scale of it, and you're just like, whoa, you know, it's like kind of mind blowing. Like I can't wait for those moments in this game.
It does it nonstop, dude.
You'll get them.
There's a moment like that even on a smaller scale with two. Well, I mean, we know Thor's in the game, right? We saw the trailer, but when you see how big Thor is, I remember he like walks up and I was like, that's a big boy. Like I had no idea. He's huge.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Could voice, how do we, Zeke, maybe this is a question for you. How do we feel about talking about the voice actors in the game? Without giving context as to
if
the exact
they're
moments.
like surprise characters and stuff, because I know like the basic gist of who's in it that is not a surprise. Like I know like
do you know who plays Odin?
Just from artwork and stuff.
Do you know who voices Odin?
No.
I kind of
We should probably not talk about it.
I kind of don't want to tell you then, but I'll just say that is controversial.
I think it's fantastic.
I think it's
Good, put that
fantastic as
out
well.
there.
I'm in camp. This is like,
It's amazing.
honestly, it's my dream casting, but there are a lot of people who are not fans of the voice.
I can understand
if
why.
it's not Ian McShane, like then it's gonna be, you know, a lower tier. Ian
Sure.
McShane
Fair enough.
as Mr. Wednesday, dude. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, sure. That is good. It is God, there's the opening of the game is strong, is what I will say. The first 2 hours of that game are phenomenal. And I've watched the opening from so many different streamers, and everyone's got the same like holy fuck type reaction. Like they must have gone over that countless times, just oodles of hours to get that perfect.
You think they offered him more than $4,000?
I would think.
Sorry.
I would think. Yeah, I would probably think they do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, from voice acting and like the acting and It's just very good. I don't have a single complaint about a single character or a single moment in the game. I don't think so far, and it's all been flawless.
Yeah, like the first game was fucking amazing, excellent.
Yeah,
like or the first game, the first new game,
yeah,
was excellent. And if it's like every single person that I've seen, or seen on Twitter, every single person that I've talked to, just is madly in love with the game,
Yeah.
and I'm excited because I got my brand new, OLED fucking
yeah.
4K whatever TV, 60-inch. I'm just ready. I'm gonna go and just fucking veg out the rest of the day after I run some errands. God damn it, I'm gonna run real quick.
Yeah, the only thing is probably the like backseating VO is most of the negative commentary around the game has been about that. I haven't seen much.
I wanted to mention that. I'm glad you brought it up again because I felt like there was a little bit of me that felt hypocritical because in Metal Gear, like if you call the captain, I don't know, whatever, but if you call him enough,
Colonel,
like, yeah, the colonel. Thank you.
Yeah.
If you call the colonel enough, like he'll eventually say like, how he'll give you like little hints as you go, like, there's got to be some way that Psycho Mantis can't read your inputs. And you call him again, he's like, I bet if we did this, he wouldn't be able. And you're like, oh, thank you, because it's something you would never have thought of because it's Kojima and it's fucking off the wall bonkers. Like,
yeah,
put the fucking controller in port 2. Well, like you're supposed to get that from the hints you were giving.
It's kind of weird.
Like what?
It's weird you mentioned that because I did a puzzle last night where, and it was very off. It was kind of hidden. I felt it was one of those cool moments where I stumbled upon it and it felt very hidden. And the companion didn't say a single thing through the puzzle. And I sat there for like probably 10 to 15 minutes just thinking, what the fuck do I do? Like, I don't understand it. I don't even know how to start this whole thing. I see before me what I need to do in terms of the end goal, but I have no idea how to start it. And they didn't say a single thing the entire puzzle. So it feels like for like main path stuff, they're very vocal, but at least in this instance, side path stuff, they didn't say anything. And I don't know what caused that to occur because I didn't change any settings. There was nothing. They were there. I saw their character walking around, but there was no vocal call outs to anything. So I wonder how they handled that in the sense of if it's like main story stuff gets the back seat. If you have to complete this puzzle, they will tell you eventually how to complete it. Is all I can think of. It was strange, and I didn't actually think about that, Zeke, till you brought it up. Where like you can call upon people in other games, and they will tell you what to do. This one just offers it to you ad nauseum. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a good system though. Like the hit system should be voluntary. If I want it, I'll tap the head, be like, hey.
Correct
help
me if
out,
I'm wrong.
Help me out here.
In 2018's God of War, didn't they have a boy button to where like it would call the kid and that he would react one way or the other? Wasn't that a button? Or am I making that up?
I would rather you not call it.
I can't remember.
Button.
I thought that there was some way to like. I mean, it's
dudes in ancient Rome be like, hell yeah, boy button.
Yeah, no, I think there was a way the way you would call out to him.
Yeah, right? I thought there was a way to do that. Wasn't there?
I remember that.
Yeah. I don't.
Maybe I'm remembering it wrong.
Same here. He said it so fucking much that maybe it was just time to the button presses. I don't know. Are you not mixing it up with the meow button and Stray? No, I didn't play Stray.
Maybe I'm just misconstruing that. Like, maybe there was no way to call him, but you make him like fire arrows or something.
Yeah, maybe that exists.
That's an alt.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a story. Oh, chat saying that was a story specific moment. Okay.
Oh,
got it. Someone asked how the game had been selling. It set franchise records for the first week in the UK, at least. They haven't made any statements. Tomorrow being Monday, this past week being the first week of the game's release, you'll probably see something tomorrow of God of War Ragnarok sells X million units in first week, blah, blah, blah. It's probably going to sell incredibly well. And it should. Like it's a 10 out of 10 game. I will also state that Sony has a monopoly on games with side with companions. They've like nailed that gameplay trope with like Last of Us and now this. It's like they're the kings of it. I don't know anyone that can challenge them or rival them in that type of storytelling. And I don't know if I would.
It Takes Two.
Yeah, okay. That's a good one. For sure.
But it's few and far in between.
It is.
I don't know outside of that what other one I would even throw
Chat's
out.
saying
but,
Plague
like,
Tale. I watched that. Cause you played it. How's Plague Tale's like companion aspect?
I mean, it was
In comparison.
It was okay.
Okay.
It's very different. But yeah, Plague Tale was good, but not the same. It's not really the same.
Okay. Got it. Well, without getting into like story aspects of it, I think that's kind of all we can say. I don't know when we'll all finish it, especially with Zeke not streaming it. It might take some time. If it is, are you playing the 100% at Zeke?
Maybe not 100%. Like not all of the collectibles or all of the. Well, it was Valkyrie fights in the last one, right? I didn't do every single Valkyrie fight in the last one.
Okay.
Because like, I don't know. It like once I finish get to the credits.
Yeah.
Of most games, the gum loses the flavor. So I try to complete as much of the game as I can before that point because I know myself and I know like once the game is done, it's just like a huge like release. Just like, oh, what a great game.
Yeah.
It's like, but you still got like 2 Valkyrie fights. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I'm done with it. I like this feeling. I'm gonna bask in it and I'm not gonna like, try and keep chewing this gum.
On the subject of the parallel to that, 25 hours in, I don't know what it is. Co, have you fought the whatever?
Yes.
Okay.
I fought a few of them.
Comparable?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comparable.
Okay.
Yep. And these I like how these are more kind of in your face. So it's kind of, but again completely optional.
Yeah.
So they're cool. I've enjoyed all of them so far. They're the kind of fight that like you were talking about earlier. They don't feel cheap. Like they feel like you do the fight a few times, you get to see all the moves, and then it's the process of figuring out how to best deal with those moves. And then once you've got that down, it's just having the run.
Yeah.
And I have not yet fought any of them where I'm like, oh, that's so cheap, or that's just dumb, or anything like that. It's like every just like you said earlier, every time you die, you're like, okay, I got to do that differently. Gotta dodge at a different time on that one. I need to make sure I parry that move. I can't parry and react to that move because he has a follow-up, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I will 100% this one. And probably do it on stream. I'm going to try to do everything that I can. I'll take the viewership hit for the month and do everything.
It is. That is one of the only downsides to wanting to share the experience of God of War with everyone. It is one of the few games where everyone is also like, yeah, no, I'm going to also do the same thing. I want to play it. Yeah. And you're like, oh, cool.
Yeah. It's been most of the channels apart from like the top 5, top 10 have been like 60% of what normal viewership is. A lot lower sometimes. So a hit there, but hey, I get it. People want to play the game themselves. If you start to lag a little bit, I've noticed, at least in my case, like viewership bump has gone up because I'm a little bit further behind when most people are, which has been kind of nice, especially on today where I probably won't be able to play with the show, and probably tomorrow as well. So I'll be hopefully even further behind, but that's all just with Twitch stuff. Eager to play though. Anytime I have free time, it's like, well, I could go, maybe I'll just fire up the stream and go fuck around in this area. Cause it offers that a lot. And what?
NEF?
I don't got
good.
enough. Yeah. Is it down on your end?
Got some downs. Okay, though. Looks like it's evening out.
Twitch has been kind of bumpy the past week. I've noticed. I don't know if that's on them or me. Barry said it's fine. Okay. Brief F for a second. Yeah, that's God of War. Hell of a thing. If you got a PS5, play it. If you got a anyone play the PS4? How's it run? Anyone? I wonder. Anyone in chat have the PS4 version of God of War Ragnarok? How does that run there? I'm curious if it's wait for the inevitable PC release. I think people are still catching
Runs
up.
well. It doesn't look as good. Maybe.
PS4
Probably like the same way that
runs and looks great. 30 FPS, 2K.
Runs just like 2018.
Stable
Yeah.
30. Okay. Cool. Great. So yeah, I guess if you're looking for an experience and can't grab a PS5, the PS4 version seems
Grab a drink
solid
one
as
sec.
well. All right.
So is PS4 always locked at 30?
I don't know if they have a performance mode because
Okay.
2018 God of War didn't run at 60. I don't think. I think it ran at 30 on maybe PS4 Pro ran 60.
You get 40 on Pro, someone said.
Hey.
Woo!
that's a 33% increase right there. That's noted. That's really notable.
Yeah, they said
Oh,
it's 30 FPS for both performance and quality version.
Okay.
It's probably the last
It was
performance
so-
mode game on PS5. It's true.
Fucking weird for me. Like I didn't realize like how big of a difference it was, like how many games. Like I just took 60 FPS for granted. And then someone asked me to play Bloodborne. I went back, I was like, why does this seem so chunky? Like, what the fuck? And they're like, because it's 30 FPS. And I went, it didn't feel like that back then. It's like, yeah, because you were playing all 30 FPS games back then. I was like,
yeah.
holy shit, this is like
ruins it, doesn't it? It
swimming in
freaking ruins
molasses,
it.
man.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
usually it doesn't make that big of a difference to me. Like I brought this up yesterday or the other day,
Yeah.
talking about a DVD to Blu-ray, and I was like, I see the difference, but I can't justify, a $5 DVD or a $25 Blu-ray. It's like it's fine on DVD, but this 30 to 60, huge. Like I had no idea how huge it was to me.
Are you about that
This
on
was-
4K yet? Have your eyes seen thy glory of the 4K?
Seen the light?
Yeah.
Motherfuck, I had a very direct experience with that because I got the new OLED TV 4K whatever.
Yeah.
I hooked it up and I was like, oh, this is glorious. It broke. It zapped off, had a blue line, whatever. I contacted like Best Buy and they're like, you didn't get the warranty. And I was like, fuck. They're like, try LG. They probably haven't. I contacted LG. They're like,
warranty,
we have
yeah.
repair people. We'll come get it. So for that period of time, I was back on my other, 60-inch, older like LED TV.
Yeah.
And I was like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my issue.
The blacks aren't black. The whites aren't white. It's just fucking terrible. Like, what kind of a shitty world am I living in? And then it got repaired and got back. I was like, oh, thank God, heaven. Oh, we're back in heaven. Hooray.
Yeah. That as soon as I stepped into the 4K world, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, very early adopter. I was like, I have to get a 4K monitor. Like I just have to make this step because I could see the jaggies. I could see the line. The lines aren't straight. They suck. These lines are bad. And now everything is in 4K and it takes a little bit of a performance hit, but it's still great.
Oh, okay. People are trying to correct me. OLED, not 4K. Like, I thought 4K was like the resolution.
4K is resolution.
And OLED was like the lighting.
OLED does have the blacks or
It's the
blacker,
panel.
as you said. Yeah, the panel that's what produces the color quality from the OLED.
But you can have both.
Yeah.
Yes.
4K
Okay.
is just resolution. It's going to make everything look
okay.
crisper and the line straighter and blah blah blah
Yeah.
blah. Yeah, but the color is purely from OLED.
I see what they're saying. I was mentioning the color and not the clarity. Okay.
There's a
'cause
lot.
clarity was pretty similar because my other TV was a 3K, which is a weird resolution. Like that was like the top end for that. It was like a 30, whatever between 2 and 4.
Yeah,
That was the max it could do.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a huge jump in clarity, but it was definitely a huge jump in vibrance.
right.
36, 30, or that is 4K.
Yeah, now I'm going to blank on 2160p
Yeah.
is 4K. Yeah, because it's
What? Yeah.
2160p is 4K. It's because the number before is 38 something. but they just rounded
Yeah.
to 4K to call it 4K.
38, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I always mix up 2160 and 2560. Because it's 1440 by it's 2560 by 1440.
Yeah.
But everyone uses the lower number.
Yeah.
So when you say 2160, I don't hear that.
Yeah, that's
what
4K.
I hear is 1440.
The marketing,
You know, like
the people that decided the standard said, we're going to call that 4K and we'll call 1440p 2K, but everyone's going to call it 1440p instead of 2K because fuck you. And that's just
okay. So what I meant was,
Yeah, well, I don't know why we do that though.
I don't
the
know.
highest number of the resolution for my last one, my TV before this was, okay, so 1440 by 2560, right? That's 1440. I looked at the higher number and it was 31 something.
Yeah.
Was the highest number, and then it was by a lower number, and I can't remember what that one is.
Oh, so that was 3K?
Weird. Yeah, he said it was 3K.
Yeah, that's weird. I've never heard of a 3K TV. Now, or I've never seen one. I assume they exist.
There it is, 3840 by 2160.
That's 4K.
Fucking goddamn it! I did have a 4K TV, son of a bitch. I don't know what I'm doing.
But you didn't have an OLED. OLED changes the whole
I
fucking
didn't.
thing. Yeah, OLED is what you want. OLED is you want an OLED or a mini LED or there's one other thing that I'm blanking on.
I thought 4K
QLED.
QLED, yeah,
hit.
that's Samsung's weird thing.
I thought 4K hit 4K.
No,
It doesn't.
Sorta.
2K does.
You know, it's like how 32 gigs is like 32 and some of them change on top of that.
yeah,
but it goes past it.
No, it doesn't reach the number 4K.
it never.
It doesn't reach it.
They rounded up 38s whatever to 4K, and that's why they call it.
No, I
4K.
know that, but in gigabytes, do they round up? Just like
No, they
like
round
4K?
down.
No, they round
and
down.
But that's what I'm saying. They at least hit it.
Yeah,
That's why it was confusing to me.
yeah.
Yeah.
I guess in that case, because I guess a potential lawsuit could occur if someone is like, well, this says 256 gigabytes could be stored here, but I've got 254 and it's capped out, blah, blah, blah.
I expected 4,000 pixels. Look at that.
I guess if people, maybe, I don't know. The whole thing's fucked.
Well, my ignorance has successfully delayed or derailed this stream. So
You're not alone.
Welcome, everyone.
I mean,
Don't worry.
read the chat. You're not alone, right? Not everyone's on the 4K hype yet. It's getting cheaper, but it's still not cheap. They're pretty, especially the OLED world. Couple grand is what you're going to pay there. Still expensive. So it makes sense. You didn't derail anything, especially.
Hold on, let me just do something real quick. 4 times 1080 equals 4320. But wait a minute, people are saying that 4K is 4 times 1080, and that math doesn't fucking check out.
It's area. It's not 4 times the length, it's the area. 4 times the area.
Are you square rooting it?
I'm multiplying by pi, taking away sigma, and I'm coming up with JERICHO Pliskin. That's what I'm coming up with.
Yeah, Zeke, I think you want to do 1920 by 2 and 1080 by 2. And that's why it's 4x, right? Because it's, yeah.
Joking.
Anyways.
Everybody's joking.
Anyways. What do you guys want to talk about now? We got like 20 minutes. My brain's on God of War and Sonic Frontiers. That's where my
someone informed me. I'm starting up Metal Gear Solid 3.
Nice.
And someone informed me. I said this is the subsistence version.
Oh,
and that's what I specifically got was
doesn't it have mini games or something like that?
Subsistence because it has extra content like mini games and whatnot.
Yeah.
But they informed me that this is part of the pack. The the something edition that has like
the Pliskin edition. I don't know what they call it.
Whatever the edition, but they have like 3 games in it, but they're all individual games. So this was pulled out of that and sold. But it is the subsistence version, but it doesn't have the second disc that the original release had. So I had to buy the fucking thing again to get disc 2 because disc 2 actually has a title. It's subsistence, and then it's like a little subtitle at the bottom of the disc, resistance or something. So I had to get another fucking one of these games. So this game is costing me more money than I expected, but I'm excited.
What those
I'm really
run?
excited to jump back in it.
What those
They're
run?
not too expensive. They're like 30.
Okay, not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this one, that's why I probably got it cheap, because it wasn't the original one. Because I got that one for like 25, minus shipping. And then I was like, no, God damn it, I gotta get the other one with the second disc. And those run like 35. So it was like $10 more for the original thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
ugh, this autofocus is fucking killing me. I'm gonna turn it off.
That's how it goes. When are you starting that? Tuesday, Wednesday?
Yep, Tuesday.
Okay.
Yep. It was a question whether I'd get it in time, because the delivery estimate was for Monday, but it actually came yesterday, so that's good.
Nice.
But now I gotta wait for the next one if I want to do the extra shit that's coming on Wednesday. So we'll see.
Yeah. Cool. I'm excited to talk about that next week. JERICHO, what have you been playing outside of the God of Wars? A lot of COD? Is that where you're?
Yeah, a lot of COD. You know what we can talk about that I'm excited to talk about that
Sure.
might be interesting?
Let's hear it.
I know for sure you guys have not talked about the new Need for Speed Unbound.
I've seen the trailers, but we have not talked about it because these two don't give a shit about it.
I mean, honestly, I am such a big Need for Speed fan. It was
Really?
my first racing games were Need for Speed Hot Pursuit on the PlayStation and all this stuff. And so I grew up playing Most Wanted and Carbon and Underground and all this stuff. And the franchise has been dog shit for like 10 years now, like just unbelievably bad. The most recent one was just boring and unimaginative, but they kind of like fixed a lot of the problems that they had. The current one, it really looks like they just said, okay, we've decided to just say, we're not Forza. We're not trying to be. We're not Gran Turismo. We're putting ASAP Rocky in this shit. We've got cartoon lines. You want to, you literally want to.
By the way, Chad, that's a music person.
That's a music guy.
Yeah.
Like they're done trying to like make it anything more than just do absurd things to your car, and hopefully our driving mechanics are fun. They put it on the street with cop chases, SWAT, etc.
It looks like Need for Speed.
Exactly.
Truly.
And literally Need for Speed did not look like Need for Speed for the last 10 years at all. So the fact that you can race an Escalade against a Lambo, like that's what I want to do. I don't care if you're doing anything that's normal. Like that's
your realism. I want to go fast. That's what this game's saying. I kind of like
and
that.
look, there's a G-Wagon in the race. Like, why? I don't know. Doesn't matter. And so I'm really looking forward to this because the art direction is interesting, and you can minimize. You don't have to have all this crazy stuff if you don't really want to.
Yeah.
But like this is something they wouldn't have done in old Need for Speeds. Really, the whole like aggressive cop versus street racing illegal. You're doing this for money. You're doing because they wanted to stay away from the whole. Our car companies don't want to have Toyota breaking the law. And so the fact that they do have a lot of these main companies, the list is pretty solid. It's not great, but it's a pretty solid list of cars. I'm like, all right, fuck it. Like for once, it actually looks like they've decided to make a Need for Speed game. So I'm hopeful.
Is Criterion making this? Do you know?
Yeah, Criterion is back on and making it, which is another big thing. I trust them.
And, Criterion made Burnout. For now, not necessarily the same studio. Burnout, very old IP, but same studio in
Burnout too.
Burnout was I have never, to date, I haven't seen a good replication of Crash Mode from Burnout. The best mode.
What about the not Wreckfest? What about I know they don't gamify it, but what's that game that's literally like a physics sim?
Oh, I
crashing cars.
I have no idea. Not the
but
same
you're right.
for me.
Mode.
That was man.
Crash Mode was the best. Oh my God, Co, you missed out on an incredible thing.
It was so good.
The goal of Crash Mode was to take yourself. They eventually got it to anywhere, but it started out as here's a busy intersection. We're gonna have firefighter firefighter trucks. We're gonna have ambulances. We're gonna have helicopters. We're gonna have buildings. We're gonna have a ton of cars. And your goal is to hit X amount of damage done with your
property
car.
damage.
And
just
Oh my god, it's so fucking good.
Can you just pull up a little game?
Yeah,
like
let's
just pull it
find
up because
some.
because this
So-
was like it was like the original wreckage. Just you can choose your car. You choose the speed. You're basically like, all right, if I angle myself just right, I can do a corkscrew and take out this sign, which causes an entire ambulance to crash into the building and like get a higher multiplier. And you're like, yeah. The physics were great too.
It was incredible.
Did you
yeah.
pin down the one you were talking about, Jericho?
I'm sorry.
Oh, the physics
pin
game
down
you were
the-
trying to think of?
Oh no, I didn't.
I didn't see it in chat either.
Beam NG.
Oh, Beam NG. Yes, sorry. That
Was that
was
it?
the one
Okay.
that I was. Yes. So
Okay.
similar, but yeah. This, I mean, obviously, this is a PlayStation
There
2
you go.
game, so we're looking
This is
at
the
like,
remastered version of Burnout Paradise.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
This is Crash
so
mode.
yeah,
Oh, dude, that looks
It's
awesome.
It hasn't been replicated. It's the best thing.
When you said Crash mode, I instantly thought of Carmageddon, but that is not what this is.
No.
No.
This is just like a physics simulator with money on top of cars. And you get like a
Yeah.
little bit of boost and multipliers and yeah, this
Yeah,
is
distance.
this is a
It's silly.
22-minute video and I think he goes on for 22 minutes in a single crash. So it's probably some insane score, but
yeah.
it was so fun. And they haven't done it since. Kind of probably for the reason Jericho said, and that is that car companies don't want to see their cars wrecked, or they don't want consumers to see their cars wrecked, is the image of like a
You can tell when this was made because the cars cost $1,000, and everybody's like, "Yep, seems about." Right.
Sure, yeah. But it's the pinnacle. This
was
was
great.
like Criterion. This is Burnout Paradise, which was the like apex for me, and I think for a lot of others, of Criterion's development in the Burnout world. Because there was probably 4 or 5 Burnouts before this, and they all had different iterations on the Crash mode and just
Knockout.
of just the Burnout IP in general. And this is the greatest of all
So
time.
this is like a mechanics manipulation, right?
Yes. Well, no, not manipulation. Like this is the game mode. It's like, hey, you can like you see how he's rolling and stuff. Like you can basically continue your momentum and put yourself in a situation. See that his ride, his
Okay. I see.
ran and
Yeah. But this as far as I know, is not in the new Need for Speed. They're not doing anything like this.
No,
It's just
they're not
random
doing
tangent.
this.
Yeah.
They did have like some battle royale thing and like some previous stuff. Look,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. I get excited to see an IP get the chance of not sucking and a rebirth whilst like after years of just being driven into the ground. Cause like I really lived off of Most Wanted and Carbon and Underground.
Dude, the reason those games and for me the reason any racing game is good is when they nail the sense of speed. And those old Need for Speed games, like they had that formula figured out to a T, and when you wanted to go fast, it felt like you were going fast.
Oh yeah.
And it was and then they also matched awesome music most of the time, as well as not awful music, which was sometimes better.
Little John and the East Side Boys Get Low was the first time I heard that was literally in Need for Speed Underground. And I was like, oh man, like I waited till that song cycled around so I could write it down because it popped up and I was like, oh my God. And like Static X, the original Need for Speed Most
Oh.
Wanted soundtrack, I still listen to like unironically just because it's so
Dude,
good.
Paradise had Take Me On With the Paradise at Guns N' Roses, which was great. However, the best song in that game was Avril Lavigne Girlfriend. Anytime that would come on, you would just, this is like, oh, this is I gotta go fast as possible. This is the greatest song to race to. There's
So
also,
good.
I think Static X was maybe in one of those games as well.
Yeah.
They had like Push It, and,
Yeah.
and that was
So
fantastic.
quick question.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it up against something. Ready?
Okay.
I want you to tell me which one's better. And what game was that you guys were just talking about? The soundtrack?
Most Wanted.
Need for
We were kind of all over the
Most
place.
Wanted, okay.
I was Burnout
Yeah,
Paradise.
yeah.
He was Most Wanted. Yeah.
Okay. So the one with like the Get Low, Static X, whatever, that's Most Wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's like
Most
Underground.
Wanted
yeah, but-
soundtrack. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 soundtrack.
See, you can't
you
do
can't-
this.
yeah,
This is
that's kinda
so,
What do you mean you can't do this?
It's
I'm doing
because
this.
Tony Hawk is
no-
like the Mount Olympus of like
it's
video
we're talking
game
like
soundtrack.
who
I
got
love how,
better
like-
licensing?
Like you guys had somebody cueing you from behind, both of you. No,
Yeah,
no, we're not. No.
It's so hard, man.
It's very
Like,
hard, man.
you're talking about also the type of music, like both are incredible, but culturally significant to
Yeah.
their own respective groups. Tony Hawk and the punk and skating and that whole, like, it's, you can't hold a candle to it for that group. But like, you're gonna look at me and tell me Riders on the Storm and Get Low being like the feature tracks on this, like, on like my suburban, like, kids' first experience into this like
Yeah.
car culture. Like, really did influence a lot. So they're both incredible, but like, damn, that's I can't
It's a
compare
tough
'em.
one. Yeah, I don't think you can.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could pick a winner there, Zeke. It also was
Yeah.
like a lot of that seems kind of like a relic of the past in terms of licensing that big of music.
No. Forza, like, literally, racing games
Is,
go hand
is
in
it of
hand
the
with
same
music.
magnitude
Caliber?
though of music in it though? Is what I'm saying. Am I just
Well,
that
we're
not
not-
in tune
yeah.
of what's big in music anymore?
I don't know because I
Am
only
I the
listen to
problem?
hospital. I only listen to hospital records, but like GTA,
The kids are the
GTA's
problem,
radio is
JP.
huge.
That's right, Co.
The kids
Yeah.
are the problem.
Yeah, Forza's huge. GTA's radio is huge. Like Fortnite radio literally license new music every 2 weeks. Like we've had
Really?
music in it, and
I
that's
knew
just
that,
one
yeah.
of their like 5 radio stations. So yeah, I think we're there definitely in terms of scale, but I think the importance of having a good soundtrack on a physical disc where there were no other alternatives to what you were listening to, like, yeah, I mean, it's hard to overstate how important that was to how much I enjoyed those games. Tony Hawk, Need for Speed, whatever.
Yeah. The only unfortunate thing about the new Need for Speed is that it comes out on December 2nd, and I'll be playing other games because there's 2 other big releases there. I think actually Co will, and probably Zeke will both be playing a horror game by the name of Callisto Protocol on December 2nd. And then I'll
Me
be
too.
playing the Marvel game on December 2nd.
I cannot wait for Callisto. Holy shit, it looks so good.
Oh
Like
my
I've been
God,
just
yes.
drooling over over the game. I'm trying not to spoil it too much, but the fact that we get the spiritual successor and then we literally just get Dead Space in January, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be. It's a good couple months.
Yeah. Callisto's looking very strong for that.
Agreed, 100%.
Yeah.
Looks good.
That's one of those games that I think the hit I will take as far as being a hype game will be, I mean, it'll be significant, but it'll be a lot less than the God of War hit I would have taken. So it's like,
I think it's rather
it's
niche.
just I gotta measure it. Like I'm gonna take a viewer hit a little bit probably because it's a hype-ish game, but it's not God of War hype. So I think that might be
it's
all right.
scary.
Yeah, I think people want to tune into those type of games, Zeke. It's kind of the inverse because they want to see you or Co or whoever's going to play it, Jericho, like lose their shit at a scary moment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is. Horror games have a unique rewatchability for me where I want to watch you go through the mental pain that I went through. It's like a little Schadenfreude, whatever you call it. So I'm like,
Yeah, dude.
yeah, no, I think you'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's just so, like, I know that we just went through October and I wish maybe we could have talked about all the horror games that I've been like putting on the wish list and stuff, but like this one definitely, it, like, they're just like, hey, it's gory. Didn't they show this on the Game Awards or something last year and they like blurred it out? E3.
That's
yeah,
what
they
it was.
blurred out the stuff because it was like, we can't show you him just ripping his head off. And I'm like, oh, perfect. Like exactly what I want.
Yeah.
It should be disgustingly terrifying. Dead Space was the first game that I live streamed, and I'm like, okay.
Oh, really?
Like
That's
if we
cool.
can, yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah. It looks great. It's
You
looking
stream.
It's looking nice and spooky.
Mhm.
For sure. One game we talked about this on the air, and I'm honestly blown away. It goes past being surprised. You guys remember Marvel Snap, and we talked about how bad their like Nexus events were when it came to the monetization of that game on the show? They like completely wiped that. That game launched, and now it's one of the biggest games on mobile.
I've been seeing people.
Everyone
post
is
about
playing
it.
Marvel
A
Snap.
lot of people are saying it's great.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm back to
was
playing it.
streaming the hell out of it. Yeah, and he said he was loving it.
Yeah. I saw like even Sacriel is playing and streaming nonstop Snap, which is with where that game was when we last talked about it on the show. Did not expect that because they were kind of fucking up monetization wise, and they just
Now
scrapped
I
it.
know this has been answered multiple times, but I need to ask again: is it just on mobile or is it on PC too?
There's a Steam client for it officially. Yeah, it's
There is?
not.
Okay, okay.
It's not a great Steam client of it, but it runs fine.
really? Okay.
It does everything you want it to on a PC.
Okay.
But it's.
I was wondering if I could play it on Steam Deck.
Yes. Well, I don't see why you wouldn't be able to. At that point, just get on your phone. Like, why not just play it on a phone if you're gonna play it on Steam Deck?
Because the Steam Deck is this fucking big. That's why.
How big's your phone? I mean,
It's a regular size. It's a regular size phone.
It's good.
Have you compared the two?
It's gonna be. You can only play it like
Steam
this.
Deck is like this.
Yeah. It's a touch screen game. I don't know. I guess you do. You play how you want.
I've never ever liked mobile games. Phone mobile games. I've never liked phone mobile games
Yeah.
because I am already klutzy. Like I'm already all fucking thumbs. And give me like I've got to tap an icon that's like, a millimeter wide. Like that's not happening.
I think you'd be fine. And also, it's it is the perfect game, Zeke. I'm gonna go use the restroom real quick, take a break on stream, we'll be right back. Pull out your phone, Marvel Snap. You play a game within less than 2 or 3 minutes, and then you just put it away. You're done. It's perfect for that. So I would say just use your phone. You can also only play in a vertical landscape, Zeke. You can't play, or in a vertical mode, you can't play landscape.
Get your gaming
Yeah, no, that's
iPad.
fine. That's fine. That doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
It's just like even with that in mind. Oh yeah, because a Steam Deck would be it's way longer than it is high. So it might be. I see what
It's
you're saying.
already
now.
going to be.
It might
forced
be
into
as
the-
high as it is. I get you.
Yeah.
I get you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Plus, there's nothing like there's nothing small for you to like mess with. On the
Okay.
like everything's very large. You won't have
And
issues.
it's
Your
coming
manual
around at a good
dexterity
time
would be fine.
because Magic the Gathering and I recently broke up again. Like
Uh-oh.
the on and off again relationship.
Was it a bad breakup?
It was a bad breakup. It was a like listen, I've warned you about using blue cards so many
God.
times and you just don't listen to me, Magic the Gathering. You keep coming at me with blue. And you keep taking my stuff or returning stuff to my hand and I want you to feel I'm using feeling words here. I feel frustrated
It's always
when you
blue.
take my creatures or don't let me get my creatures on the board.
Mm.
Okay. And I left, but I left the door open because I deleted Magic the Gathering's number on most of my stuff. I still have the number
Okay.
like in my gaming PC, my main PC,
For what it's worth,
that one.
Zeke,
I still have the number there.
for what it's worth, you will most likely get pretty upset at Snap as well. There's a lot of
You think?
RNG. Yeah. And a lot of the RNG isn't on the other player, it's on the 3 locations that spawn, to where like a location can spawn, it'll just fuck you. Like your hand is
Well,
just
that's the thing.
screwed.
I don't mind that as much
Okay.
because it's like everybody gets bad RNG.
Yeah.
You know,
and it
like,
screws the other
it-
player over as well sometimes.
It's like getting if you know anything about Magic, it's like getting mana flooded or mana starved. Like you don't get enough mana to get your shit out, or
Yep.
you get too much and you don't get enough, other cards.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't bother me if I lose like that because everybody goes through that. That's
Mhm.
fine. That's random. It'll happen.
Yep.
You know,
And that happens in
like,
Snap.
when I feel like the decks I like to play won't ever win against, certain other decks. Like it just frustrates me to no end because it's like, oh great, well I know what you're playing and I'm gonna lose. It sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me know if you download it though. I'm curious to see if you enjoy it. It's good. It's got huge deep cuts into the Marvel world, so I think you'll appreciate some of that.
No, and I love the artwork, man. I remember looking through my buddy's.
Yeah. It's
He had the
dangerous.
full set, the full run of the Marvel cards, like back in the 90s. He had like this huge, like, and every single one had like this awesome artwork, and every single one had like their stats and all that shit. And you like have fun like going and comparing, like, okay, what if Plastic Man fought the Flash? And be like, okay, and you compare their stats and shit like that. You have these like mock battles in your head.
Yeah.
and he'd be like, no, but his strength and his quickness and blah blah blah. I love that shit. So like that was totally appealing to me.
Your friend created Marvel Snap then, because that's basically what the game is what if these trading cards had stats and they fought each other? That's exactly what happens.
That's really cool.
Yeah. We'll talk about it next week, maybe. We'll have DJ Wheat on next week. He'll be joining us as our guest. And then after that, not sure. We had Shroud said something about some big announcement and happening this month, and then again at the end of December, and that he would come back on the show. So maybe he's coming back. I don't know.
I think he wanted to come back at the end of December after said big announcement.
Okay, it was after.
Oh,
okay.
he's starting an org. There's no other way.
I don't know what it is.
Here's the thing. He specifically said, because we were talking about esports and stuff, and we had mentioned how we just kind of lightly follow it and stuff. And then he kind of segued into, oh, well, there's this big thing coming that I think you'll all be interested in.
Yeah.
And we were kind of like,
I don't know
what are you talking about? And he immediately goes, I've said too much.
I have a prediction.
Okay, what's your prediction?
What does that mean?
He's gonna capitalize the S. Finally.
Oh,
capitalize
you
the
think
S
so?
in Shroud.
Shut up. No way.
Man.
Huge.
That would be huge. We would immediately need to have him back on for that.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
we'll line something up. That'll be the 27th. We don't know who will be joining us on the show, but I'll secure a guest and we'll go from there. We're a little bit over. Let's wrap up. Quick check-in. Code, did you finish did you get a clean save?
I did.
Okay.
I got it.
Fantastic.
Nice.
It took me a little bit. The
stream
to
is
do a
saved.
forced retreat, use some story points. We got there. I'm kind of sad I didn't get to talk about Star Sector, by the way. It's
Next week.
more people need to know about Star Sector, but we'll talk about it next week.
Look, God of War dominated this week, and
True.
probably won't dominate much as next week because I don't think Zeke's going to be done. I don't even know if I'm going to be done by next week. I might have another 30, 40 hours at that.
Oh
game.
yeah, I'm not putting a clock on this. I'm playing it when I have leisure time to play it. you know?
Yeah. I'm sure it'll come back up in early January on a yearly annual show. I'm sure that will be a factor.
Yeah,
in it.
no, I'm planning on finishing it at least before our games of the year
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
For sure.
Sure, there's some discussion there.
Yeah.
Jericho, you want to do some shout outs?
Yeah.
Let's see if the card loaded correct. Hey,
Let's go.
It's old, but it works. Jericho, do some shout outs.
Continuing to ask you if you want to use DMCA free music that doesn't suck and sound like elevator music, then you should check out my record label Night Mode. We have a new song coming out this Friday. We just put out a song last Friday. We have a music kit in Counter-Strike, so if you play that and you want to have MVP music, buy that. Otherwise, I'm going to go play Call of Duty after this, after trashing it for like 30 minutes.
Well, that's how it goes. I know how it is. I know how it is. Zeke, what do you got going on? Do some shout outs.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Before I give my shout outs, I wanted to give you another album versus album that I think would be an even closer match.
Oh, no.
We can't
Ready?
do this.
Ready?
No.
I'm going Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 soundtrack versus the Crow soundtrack. All right, discuss.
One. I don't have reverence for Crow. That's easy.
Dude, the Crow
I don't even know what
soundtrack
Crow
shaped
is.
a lot of my life, dude. The Crow 1994 movie soundtrack. Fucking.
I'll look
I
it
was
up.
one.
Maybe it's for the old guys then.
Oh no, you weren't one. That's terrible.
God. Anyway, my name is Ezekiel the Third. I'm obviously fucking old, apparently. And if you want to watch me, old man yells at video games. I stream at 10 a.m. Pacific most every day. I will be starting my Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater Subsistence Resistance, whatever. I will be starting that on Tuesday. My first time ever playing any of the Metal Gear games, like all the way through. And it's been a fucking hell of a journey. Metal Gear Solid 2 was a trip, and everybody's like, from all reports, people saying Metal Gear Solid 3 is a fan, like one of the fan favorites, if not the most fan favorite. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to start my journey with that on Tuesday. And if you want to follow me on Twitch and Twitter and YouTube, it's at Ezekiel_III and Ezekiel the Third all spelled out on TikTok and Instagram. So thanks for watching.
What a thrill, Zeke. What a thrill.
No, I've heard that. That must be in the game. I've heard that a couple times. What a thrill.
What a
I
thrill.
heard you're pretty good before I played Metal Gear Solid 2. So I was like, oh, okay, someone says that.
Yeah. What a thrill. Go.
And also, a dud.
Go. Do some shout outs.
As always, big thanks to JP and Zeke. Big thanks to Jericho for showing up today. We appreciate it. Awesome. My name is Ko. I'm going to be playing a lot of God of War. We got Pentiment coming up soon. We've got Darktide coming up soon. We've got Star Sectors in the evenings. We've got Callisto around the corner. We got a lot of fun stuff to do. So hope to see you in the channel. And as always, thank you guys for watching. See you next week if I don't see you before then.
Awesome stuff. Tomorrow on MCU Crew, we're going to be talking about Black Panther 2. I got to get out of here to go see Black Panther 2 to talk about it. We've also been counting down a whole new thing that's going to be a pretty big thing on my channel over at lastcallforadventure.com. Feel free to go check it out if you're a fan of tabletop or D&D at all. That'll be tomorrow, I think, is when that countdown
Oh,
goes.
I had a bunch of questions about that too. Damn.
Yeah.
Much to talk about.
Tune in tomorrow, Ko, at 5 o'clock Eastern. Last Call for Adventure. We'll peel back the curtain. We'll open it. It's fully revealed tomorrow. And then I think that's it. Just more God of War on the channel. Absolutely loving that game and having a fun time with the playthrough as well. That's it for us this week. If you missed anything for Drop Frames, you can grab the VOD, youtube.com/itmeJP, or on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere where podcasts are available. We're out of here. Jericho, thanks for showing up. Literally.
Thanks for having me.
To the show. Hope you get some sleep and maybe some Tylenol and some greasy food for that potential hangover you might have. And we'll be back next week with more Drop Frames. We're out of here. Have a good one. Bye-bye.